Hi, I am John Holland, the Public Education Specialist for the Oshkosh Fire Department, and this is On Fire. Today, we are talking about holiday safety. The holidays are the busiest time for fire departments in the United States, and here in Oshkosh, it is not any different. There's never a good time to have a fire, but the holidays have to be the absolute worst. So there are some things you can do to keep your holidays a little more safe. First thing, Christmas trees. With a Christmas tree, if you're using a live tree, get a fresh tree. Okay, and you can tell that by you grab a branch and you pull on the needles. If the needles come off, that's not a fresh tree. Okay, when you get it home, make sure you cut a little bit off the end, put it in water, and keep it well watered throughout the entire holiday season. Check it every single day to make sure that it is watered and that it is not drying out. With an artificial tree, it is much safer, fire safety wise. Doesn't have that wonderful pine smell, but you can fake that as well. But with the artificial tree, you still have to be careful. You have to be careful with the lights, and that's with any tree. But people kind of forget about it with an artificial tree. They think there's nothing that can burn. It still can. The lights get pretty hot. There's different kind of lights, and we'll talk about those in a little bit. But the big thing with the lights is when you leave your home, turn out any lights you have on the inside. I know it looks fantastic. You show up and you get the little snow falling outside and you can see all your Christmas decorations, but it is very, very unsafe. The wires on Christmas lights, everybody knows there's not much to them, and we all use them way past the time when we should. So turn off the lights inside when you leave the house. Speaking of lights inside, there are two different kinds of lights. There are indoor lights and there are outdoor lights. Make sure if you are using lights outdoors that they are outdoor lights. Some are both. Okay, but when you are putting them up outside, make sure they are at least both. You do not want indoor lights being outside. With the lights on the tree, I'll make sure the cords are not cracked. There's not any bare wires that you can see, no broken bulbs. And then when you connect them, never connect more than 3 sets of lights at the same time. You should not have a giant green stick in the back of your tree. 3 lights is all that the manufacturers recommend, 3 sets, excuse me. So make sure you don't do any more than that. This is an extension cord that was hooked up to some lights that were very overloaded. This is a very unsafe extension cord, by the way. It is not a power strip. It just has 9 different spots to plug something into. This is a very dangerous extension cord. You can see what happened to it. It actually melted. And that is because it was overloaded. And then if you think about it, most people put a tree skirt right up on top of the extension cords to hide them because they are ugly. But you have now put kindling on something that is going to get very, very hot. And don't tell anybody I told you this, but this was actually out of my parents' home. I found that and went, we got a good prop. So there we go. Going back to the lights for a second, there are 2 separate types of lights as well. We have, like on this tree, we have just your basic electrical lights. They get very warm. They get very, very warm. And they're actually a lot chintzier, cheaper as well. And you can see the 2 different types. This is just your basic electrical light. This is an LED light. First of all, they burn very, very cold. They do not get hot. Okay, and besides that, they use a lot less electricity, so they're actually cheaper. So they're safer and they're cheaper. So they're a much, much better choice. As long as we're on LEDs, they actually have LED candles as well. This one actually flickers. It actually smells. It has a very, very nice scent. I mean, it looks like a real candle, works like a real candle, but you're not going to have a fire with it. If you must use real candles for decorating, first of all, don't. There's a lot of other options out there. They're very unsafe. People put them by decorations to make it look good, and most holiday decorations are very, very flammable. So if you have to use them though, and I know some people just have to, make sure they are out of reach of children and pets. And then when you leave the room, and I don't mean leave the house, but also when you leave the house, but when you leave that room, if there is nobody in that room, that candle should be blown out. Okay, when you are using them, again, if you have to, don't just put a chunk of wax on a wood table. Make sure it is in a sturdy, non-flammable holder and that it actually fits. With holiday parties, obviously we want you to have fun, but the biggest problem with holiday parties is right here. Not Smirnoff in particular, but alcohol. Once you throw alcohol into the mix, common sense goes out the window and people do things that they wouldn't do otherwise. To make sure that doesn't happen, make sure you have at least one person that is unchemically enhanced at the party. Someone needs to be sober at that party. They should be watching smokers, making sure that they're using ashtrays and that they're actually putting out the cigarettes, not putting it in, falling in the couch, whatever, making sure that these are being used safely. The poor judgment, not only with smoking, with something as basic as cooking. The thing is, a lot of people do not make these huge meals. And then at Christmas time, they have to have 20 people over to their house and make these giant meals. And they're just not quite sure what they're doing. And their stoves and everything are being overburdened, and they're just not being safe. The holidays are a time of happiness, family, and friends. Don't ruin them by having an unnecessary fire. Invite common sense to your party and to all your holiday gatherings.